So this is going to be for 4.2, and we are starting in on some parallelogram action. Okay? So parallelograms, you can see the definitions. They are quadrilaterals, meaning they have four sides, with two parallel sides. So this would be an example of a parallelogram. When you write parallelogram, sometimes you'll see like a little parallelogram in front because math people just like to draw things instead of actually saying their names. And you can start with whatever side. So I started with X and then just go around in a circle. So I did X, Y, Z. You could start at W, Z, Y, X, just as long as you're consistent. The parallel sides here, X, parallel means they'll never intersect, because we really didn't go over that at the beginning of this course. So X, W would never touch, and this is the symbol for parallel, it's like a flipped equal sign. Y, Z. Likewise, WZ at the bottom would be parallel. It will never touch XY. Okay? So other things we know about parallelograms. They are congruent, meaning our opposite sides are congruent. So we see like this side's 12, this side is also 12. Those are congruent. So what we're actually going to start doing is, well, now we can set up solving. Okay? So I know 16 plus 2x needs to equal 10 plus 2x, because congruent means they're equal to each other. Okay? Solving this out, I like to tell people get your numbers to one side, your x's to the other. So I'm going to subtract 10 for both sides. 16 minus 10 is 6. Plus 2x equal to 8x. Minus 2x on both sides, because I want to get the x away from here. So this cancels. 6 is equal to 6x, and I would divide by 6. So x equals 1. And then be careful, on Apex it could ask you what is x equal. It could also ask you find the lengths of B, C, and AD. So I need to plug this one back in. So I can do either 116 plus 2 times 1 would leave me with 18. Okay? So I know those sides would be 18. So just make sure you read whatever they ask for. They could ask for X. They could also ask for BC and AD. So you have to plug it back in. What you see here is they do their steps a little differently. I just like to do my steps my way. Anyway, we know opposite angles are also congruent. So if I'm looking at this picture, this is 98. This opposite angle is also 98. This 182, also 82. Thus, on a problem like this, I could also solve just like what I just did. So these two would be equal to each other. And I'm going to do on the side instead of filling in what they have. So 107 plus 10x equal to 97 plus 15x. And you could do, if you're a little bit stronger, you can subtract the 97 at the same time as subtracting the x. Just keep yourself as straight as possible. I always like to subtract the smaller x as well, as another tip I'd give you. So that cancels. That would give me 10. When I set that, that cancels, and I'm left with 5x. Again, you don't have to abbreviate. If you're not as strong with solving, don't abbreviate. So x equals 2, and I would plug 2 in, and I would get 107 plus 10 times 2, which would leave me with 127. So another rule. We also know that the consecutive ones, so these ones next to each other, should add together to give you 180. Which, if I go back up, you should see 127 plus 53 is 180. 82 plus 98 is 180. So I can also solve that way. So what I know here is if I add these two together, come on, I should equal out to 180. That is what supplementary means. So 30 plus 5x plus 15 plus 10x equals 180. Combine your like terms on this side. So I get 45x plus 15x equal to 180. Oh, I'm sorry, just 45, not 45x. Subtract your 45 from both sides. So 15x is equal to 135. And then I would divide both sides by 15. What is that? Come on. Sorry. So I would divide, get my calculator out. 135, I should know this one. Back is 9. So x equals 9. Okay. Finally, again, they just solve it out a little differently, but it's the same steps. The last thing I know is that the diagonals bisect or half each other. So I know that this AM should be the same size as MC. And I know that BM is the same size as DM. And I could set this up and solve for whatever they wanted. So they give me these. It's the same type of problem. You would do 22 minus 3x equal to 10 plus 9x. And you would solve for x to get your final answer. We'll work with solving. I won't make this video any longer. And so this is your list of rules. Opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are congruent, opposite angles are congruent, consecutive angles are supplementary, and diagonals bisect each other.